Hello and welcome to Broken Entertainment. So, saw the news that TSR was back, and if you're not familiar, TSR is the company that originally created Dungeons and Dragons. Eventually, it went bankrupt, was bought by Wizards of the Coast, who made D&D 3rd Edition and 4th Edition, and they were also bought by Hasbro, who has made D&D 5th Edition and inserted all sorts of identity politics crap into the game. When I first heard the news, I was like, "Oh, that's exciting!" The more companies making these games, the better, because it introduces competition, it introduces options, it introduces new games, new settings, all that kind of stuff. And then I looked into it, and we're gonna go through this a little bit at a time here. You can see I've got a whole bunch of tabs open. They they're back and they're not, and it's exciting and it's not. So there is a company that exists now called TSR Games. It is run in part by Gary Gygax Jr. It is, however, not the original TSR because that is still owned by Wizards of the Coast, and it is not an entity that has kind of come out of the blue. It's from some other tiny little gaming company that I've never heard of before, but apparently did a Kickstarter for a role-playing game, and that role-playing game is now being made by TSR, and their name is now TSR. So it's kind of a janky situation. But this is the website for the new TSR, and this is kind of what I'm talking about. So this says player registration, and then it's got this admittedly interesting artwork and the logo here. And then it says, the band is back together. In time not so long ago, we rocked TTRPG so very hard that it shook the galaxy. It's time to start again. Just might save the world, role-playing games, God willing. That's an interesting statement I'm going to get back to when we read the press release. Birthplace of the RPG, role-playing games were born in the Midwest and have since gone on to change the world. We're bringing role-playing games back home to Wisconsin. Okay, we're producing good old-fashioned TSR TTRPG products with a new take. Our first two role-playing games, Giant Lands and Tales and Tots, are just the beginning. Here they have their social media links. I'll put all this down in the description below, or at least I'll put this website in the description below. And that's it, really. They've got some reviews by people I've never heard of. They're just random people who are saying great things. 100% recommended based on the opinion of one person. This information just isn't out there. And that's kind of one of the reasons why I'm hesitant. And I'll show you that as well. So, when I first heard this, I first heard it on Clownfish TV, and they were talking about it. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'll look into that when I get home. And I go and I type in TSR Games is back. And what do? You get IT News Online, a place I have never heard of. And if you click on it, it is this 1995 looking website. You get TSR Games, the webpage I just showed you. You get PR.com, and what is PR.com? Another 1995 looking website. Bizwire Express, another 1995 looking website. In fact, if you look at the copyright, that coincides with when TSR was refounded, 2020. So that's all kind of interesting. And this is all actually, if you look at it, who's hosting this, it's PR.com. And IT News is PR.com. And they're all the same article. And I bet if I go down to... No, this one doesn't go down far. Hey, you can tell them not to sell your data. That's cool. And you go back through here. And this looks like it might be... This is the local news station, presumably for Wisconsin, town that they're opening in Wisconsin. And it's the same story. Blurry icon. And then there's a thing on Reddit with like 8 people. And that's it. There's nothing on IGN. There's nothing on Bounding into Comics. There's nothing on IO9. There's nothing on any of the normal websites you would see it on. And once you get out of that, you just see stuff about, the old TSR stuff and some other stuff that's unrelated to TSR. Now, let's get into the press release. This is on IT News Online, Lake Geneva, Wisconsin, June 15th, 2021. Tactical Studies Rules. TSR was founded in 1973 by E. Gary Gygax and Don Kay. Originally formed in 2020, TSR Games is officially back and under the leadership of E. Gary Gygax Jr. I'm thrilled to be part of this next generation of gaming and hope that you will all find it cut from the same cloth as all my old TSR experiences as we forge a new TSR games, said Gygax, continuing, thanks to the vision of our CEO, Justin Lanassa, and the help of Wonderfilled, we're bringing TSR back to Lake Geneva. It really means so much to me. TSR was behind the original Dungeons & Dragons first release in 1974, now a worldwide phenomenon owned by Hasbro on its 5th and most popular, edition yet. I do actually believe that 5th edition is the most selling edition yet. I don't believe it's the most popular. I think a lot of older school gamers who were around for 3rd, 3.5, Pathfinder, a lot of us don't like 5th edition very much. I think 5th edition is kind of a surface level game. Just to be honest. And if you like 5th edition D&D, there's nothing wrong with that. I just think in comparison to previous editions and in comparison to other gaming systems, it's not as detailed as I would like. It's with great pride we've managed to secure the TSR brand, born here originally in 1973, and brought back to the people who created this new form of game that changed the world. In addition to the classic lines of products at TSR Museum and Dungeon Hobby Shop, TSR Games is working to bring a new generation of role-playing games and more to players worldwide. Now more than ever, the world needs TSR, said game designer Jeff Learson. We're happy to be bringing it back for experienced and new players alike. So those are all interesting phrases when they keep talking about saving the world of role-playing and the world needs TSR. I think these guys have seen what Hasbro is doing with Dungeons and Dragons and putting a bunch of political crap into it and saying, oh, orcs are racist and dark elves are racist and all this crap. And they're going, we don't like that. Let's make something to counter it. I think that's really what's going on here. I think the timing and the repeated phrasing makes it pretty clear. So, and then, Bizwire, the same thing. Same thing here. So, I went and looked up Wonderfilled. Wonderfilled has on a janky website on pr.com. I'm sorry, these all look like they're made in 1995. And if you want me to take you seriously as a company, you need to have a little bit more of an up-to-date website than this. This is bare minimum. This is like the crap I used to make on GeoCities. Come on. That said, Wonderfilled launches Giant Lands crowdfunding campaign. This they did on Kickstarter, which I have right here. Now, this looks pretty interesting, actually. It's partially designed by Ernest Gary Gygax Jr. and Stephen Deinhardt IV. Has 77 backers, was funded. Last updated June 8th. Let's see what that update is. Hope this finds you all. First and foremost, your special limited edition first edition sets will ship next month. So, This was fully funded in 2019, and in 2021 they're shipping the product. So, you know, you don't see a whole lot here, but what you do see is pretty interesting. Giant Lands is a new kind of tabletop role-playing game set in a future world after a great cataclysm when giants rise to rule the earth again. I'm Stephen Aaron Dinehart, the fourth founder and CEO of Wonderfilled, and I'm honored here to offer you something I created together with a true master, originator of so many role-playing games and more, game designer James M. Ward. His first D&D book, Gods, Demigods, and Heroes, was supplement to E. Gary Gygax's original Dungeons & Dragons, famed white box. If you ever loved Gamma World like me, you are sure to love what we have in store. Additional team members include TSR talent like Ernie Gary Gygax Jr., and so on and so forth. So, you know, here it is. So it's a percentile system. Uses whatever these are. I don't know what these are for. Some kind of counter. And I found that on Reddit. This is one of the character sheets. You can see it, the layout here. It's kind of interesting. This character is a Native American of the Cahokia area. And they have a modern-looking assault rifle and then, like, Native American garb. So it's an interesting setting. You know, an interesting combination of past and future that I like. I like that. And here you got this crazy-looking dude. And I noticed something. So his mood is serious and hungry. And her mood is tired and hungry. So I guess everyone's just hungry. Here's that logo again. But you can see I think it looks interesting. Sonic Laystaff. So he's got like a vibro sword or a vibro staff of some sort. That's interesting. So the game I think looks interesting. You know, it's kind of cool. It worries me to see something fully funded. Estimated delivery date February 2020. That's over a year out. And, you know, stuff happens. So I'll give them a little bit of slack. It's just combined with the 1995's website and all that stuff. You know, it worries me that they went from one company name to another. That kind of thing combined with this sort of thing makes me think that maybe they didn't quite have all the capital they needed and they had to bring in some other people. Although, I mean, those people are mentioned in here, so I don't know what's going on. And here's their Instagram. I think they've got... This Giant Lands art is pretty cool. I'm interested in the game for sure. I'd like to see the game. We got like a... Look at this guy. It's like freaking Rambo. And some kind of cat lady with a spear with a glowy bit on the end. Science fantasy role-playing game. You know, sounds good. So my concern is this. It's not anywhere big. It's taken days for this information to kind of start hitting the rounds. And it's making me, combined with the websites that are all the news about them is just on different websites hosted on the same service. And they all look kind of the same and they all say the same thing. And then, you know, have Wonderfilled itself has like 4 announcements in 2 years. That kind of thing worries me. And it's where I hesitate because it's kind of exciting to have a new company in the ring. It's exciting to see some of the founders, well, not founders, but people involved with the original TSR involved in creating a new game. Giant Lands itself, I showed you. It looks interesting. And here's some more of the art. But I just don't know. There's a lot here. It's very easy for a company to come out and say, oh, we've refounded, we're going to make all these games, we're going to do all this stuff, and then disappear. I've seen it happen. I've literally seen it happen. There was a company years ago that came out with a really cool supernatural role playing game called Abio. And they had websites exactly like this. And they were real small, and you didn't see announcements anywhere. And they talked a lot on their website, and they genuinely had good ideas and stuff they wanted to do, but they just kind of disappeared. They ran out of funding. They were going to do a second edition, and they just kind of vanished. And that happens when you have these little bitty companies. I don't know that any of this has enough money. Okay, their Kickstarter was funded but by 77 people. That's not a lot. And the lack of interest, the lack of announcements on significant news sources makes me feel like this is the kind of company that's already on a knife edge coming in and is going to depend entirely on Giant Lands doing well. And I haven't been to my local gaming store yet. When I go, I'm going to talk to him about this and see if he knows anything. But if they don't get out into gaming stores, or at least gaming stores getting information on them and knowing they exist and talking to players about it and getting people hyped up, this is going to fall flat on its face. When I heard the news, I'm like, oh, cool. Someone got together a bunch of money. They founded they founded TSR with a bunch of money. I don't see that. I see the opposite. I see a company founded on, Tic Tacs, a ball of string, and some spit. And I'm not saying they don't have good intentions. I'm not saying they aren't going to make good money. I'm not saying they won't be successful. I'm just saying get interested, but hold the phone a little bit before you start dancing in the street. Because this all put together, a little bit, this here and this here and this here, viewed individually is not a big deal. But viewed all together, this doesn't say company with a lot of backing. This website at least is more advanced than the other ones, but you got nothing here. Here's a shopping section. What's in here? Nothing. Doesn't exist. These reviews just follow you all over the place. So no shopping section, no real information, nothing to even click on. Player registration, what's that? Here we go. Oh, Jesus. $80 box set. So, there you go. Your introductory box set is $80. Okay, so here's a more in-depth description of everything. Let's go ahead and get into the product. Radiant golden sun rises over devastated planet Earth of the Fifth Age, emerging from the destruction as a planet born anew, where giants, tribes, mutants, androids, and odd creatures from a multitude of worlds clash in an attempt to reclaim the Earth as their own. Well, that's kind of cool. I like this game. I like this idea a lot. So I hope I'm wildly wrong about this, but the cards don't stack up in that direction. The Giant Lands First Edition set includes... Oh, jeez. This is another red flag. I know on its own it's not a big deal, but all this considered... First Edition set includes their core rule booklets. What they mean is 3. So they're not editing their site. Character sheets, dice, and a few more surprises. While you can play this game at a table, it is also the key to a new active world where live-action role-playing costumes are encouraged. So it's LARP-oriented. Soon you'll be able to join us at live events and a Giant Lands theme park where you can go on adventures with your favorite characters in a living game world. So there was some of that back here somewhere. Apparently that's part of what this went into. Here's where they actually ran Giant Lands. Okay, at a convention. Where'd you go? There you are. So, this is interesting. I like the idea. I just worry. Now is your chance to create civilization anew. Giant Lance is but the latest inception of shared imagination to emerge from the culture of TSR games. Blah, blah, blah. You get 3 core rulebooks, gaming dice, game tokens, limited edition poster, 4 pre-made characters. 2 to 10 players, age 12 plus, 90-minute playtime, 90-minute plus playtime. Only 2,000 of the first edition set are available. First version was created for our Giant Lands Limited First Edition Kickstarter backers. This is the first edition, which will not be made again, is exclusively available on our website and is only available in print. We'll begin shipping the set in August 2021. Interesting game setting, interesting rules from, what you can see. A lot of red flags on this being a tiny company that may not be around very long. I hope I'm wrong. I hope there's a new competitor in the market. I hope Giant Lands is a big success. I just really worry. That's all. Is this a dinosaur? Oh, big snakes. Okay. Anyway, that's kind of where I am on this. So TSR's back. Sorta. Cross your fingers. Hope it works out. I'll put the link to their website in the description down below if you want to come check out all this stuff or pre-order your $80 box set. And I mean, 3 rulebooks, game dice, game tokens, poster, 4 pre-made characters. I guess one question is, how big is the rulebook? Not very big. So, I don't know. $80 seems like a lot. I was thinking the rulebook was going to be pretty big. Well, if you're interested, go check it out. Let me know what you guys think about this TSR incarnation coming back. If you see as many red flags as I do, or if you're very optimistic about the future of it. Again, I'm not bashing this at all. I am excited for it, but I'm just being really cautious because I've seen this exact story play out before. So, it's a lot of red flags for me. Let me know what you think in the comments below. If you liked the video, please hit the like button. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. Hit the bell for notifications. And I will see you next time.